Hello everybody, video here for you today. This is the No Cap recap of the Curse of Oak Island companion show series, Tales from Oak Island, Season 1, Episode 4, called Trail of the Templar Cross, originally aired December 10th, 2024. The show will likely not contain any breaking news on current events, but could shed new light on Oak Island's history and previous discoveries, as it does provide new interviews with people that appear on the show and other historians not tied to the show. I recap the main show late Tuesday nights and this show a day or two later. There's a link to my Oak Island playlist in the upper right. Now let's get into it. Do 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 do. Previously on the Curse of Oak Island, people have been looking for an incredible treasure for 229 years. A brief explanation is given of the Money Pit's discovery in 1795 and some of the search as well. Narrator Robert Clotworthy says many have wondered who constructed the elaborate subterranean structures to hide it. One of the most common theories is that it was the medieval order of Christian warrior monks called the Knights Templar. They are thought to have been in possession of priceless religious artifacts like the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, and the Golden Menorah. Even without those items, the Knights Templar had amassed a fortune due in part to having established one of the first banking systems. They were famous for their military architecture and would have extensive knowledge of water supplies, drainage, and tunnels. The order was established in France in 1118 AD for the purpose of protecting Christian interests during the Crusades. The Knights Templar insisted on being headquartered at the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. They believed it to be the original location of the Temple of Solomon, which housed those Christian relics. Over 200 years, their numbers and power grew as they established strongholds in France, where they were founded, as well as Jerusalem, Italy, England, and Portugal. In the early 1300s, King Philip IV of France was deeply in debt to the Knights Templar. And Pope Clement V didn't like their growing independence from the church. The two conspired to persecute and dissolve the order by accusing them of heresy on Friday, the 13th of October, 1307. Much of their wealth was never found, and some believe that they realized that trouble was coming beforehand and hid it. Perhaps in the New World on an island off the coast of Nova Scotia. For 12 years now, Rick and Marty Lagina, along with a team that includes archaeologists, historians, and other disciplines, have unearthed structures and artifacts, some of which are dated to the 1200s. The quintessential artifact is the lead cross Gary and Rick found in Smith's Cove in 2017. A week before that, Rick and other members of the team visited a prison in Dome, France, where arrested Knights Templar were kept. They had carvings all over the walls, including the spitting image of the lead cross found 1 week later back on Oak Island. The lead cross was proven by a chemist to be an isotopic match for lead that came from a southern France Templar mine. In 2022, researcher Emiliano Sacchetti came across a cave system in Camerano, Italy, that was used by the Knights Templar. One part of it is shaped like the lead cross and prison carving, albeit with the head leaning to the opposite side. Like its lead counterpart, one of the arms in the cave system is shorter than the other. In the 1930s, a large boulder was found that was covered with carvings. It was blown up with dynamite so the ground underneath could be dug up to check for treasure. There was nothing there. This image is of one of the remaining pieces, called the HO stone for obvious reasons. While in Italy, visiting the cave system, Rick and members of the team went to a church in the city of Viterbo that had the cross and 4 dots, which they were told was common at Templar related locations. On a column, HIC was carved, and Emiliano told the group it means here in Latin. After that, Alex Sagmina wrote HIC in blue on his phone. Then in white, he added a crossbar and 4 dots to the I, as well as changing the C to an O with a dot in the center to match the HO stone. So it could be interpreted as here, Templar, gold. In 2022, Marty, Alex, and Charles traveled to Royston Cave in England, meeting researcher Gretchen Cornwall there. She believes it was a secret initiation chamber of the Knights Templar. Alex says the size of it is incredible for something I assume was dug by hand. Gretchen says absolutely dug by hand, just like Oak Island. It's 16 feet wide, but the center circle is 13 feet wide, just like the original money pit. When asked for connections to Oak Island, she says that she thinks this carving is representative of the lead cross. It is similar, including one cross arm being shorter than the other and the angle of the head. Charles Barkhouse later says in a new interview that apparently the design was very important to the Templars. One of the more recent theories is that the Vikings assisted the Knights Templar with knowledge of the New World, or transportation, or both. In 1021 AD, the Norse settled Newfoundland on its northern tip. Only recently discovered in the 1960s, Lans aux Meadows is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. After the trip from Scandinavia to Newfoundland, it's easy to believe they explored further south, including Nova Scotia and possibly Oak Island. Some researchers believe that descendants of these settlers joined the ranks of the Knights Templar in the 1200s during the Crusades, and therefore could have helped them getting to the New World with their treasures before the king and pope decimated the order in 1307. 1307 is prominently carved in Royston Cave, but they didn't show that in this Tales episode. Researcher Doug Simmons brought the Templar Viking theory to the island in a season 11 episode of the main show. The Vikings began to adopt Christianity starting in the 800s, and King Sigurd took 60 ships on a crusade to Jerusalem in 1107 and arrived in 1110, getting baptized in the River Jordan. In 2023, Rick and members of the team visited Iceland and a cave there that was hand dug by the Vikings. Near the entrance is one of those same crosses. It's highlighted here in post-production. Speaking of crosses, there was another one found on Oak Island by Fred Nolan. He found a bunch of big boulders spread out, weighing between 2 and 4 tons each, and when he surveyed them, found that they were in the shape of a cross. They would have had to have been placed by skilled engineers. In 2023, researcher author Christopher Morford presented his theory that the cross was a map. A line from Cone C, the most northern point of the cross on the shore, through Cone A at the top of the cross and easternmost point, and also going through 2 drilled stones found long ago, ends up at the money pit and specifically at the garden shaft. There was a void discovered using ground penetrating radar at 127 feet down in the most recent episode of the flagship show. This void is very close, if not exactly on this line as well. Speaking of very close, the second drilled rock is almost the exact halfway point between Cone C and the garden shaft area. In 2022, on Lot 5, which the Laginas had only recently bought, giving them access to 100% of the island, Gary Metal detected this lead barter token. It proved to be an essentially identical isotopic match to the lead cross found in Smith's Cove, meaning it would have come from the same area in southern France. Next time on an all-new Tales from Oak Island episode called Decoding the Duke d'Anville, who is a member of the Rochefoucauld family mentioned on Xena's map, airing on December 17th, 2024. In 1746, a mysterious ship's log was written suggesting that a vast treasure may have been buried on Oak Island by a French admiral who was connected to the Knights Templar. There's no new episode of this show or the main show on Christmas Eve, so that Santa Claus won't miss his favorite shows. I would assume there also won't be new shows on New Year's Eve either. I'll be continuing No Cap recaps of The Curse of Oak Island late Tuesday nights as the new episodes air, and this show, Tales from Oak Island, a day or two later. My Oak Island playlist is in the upper right. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you if you have done that already. Sempre avanti, and Merry Christmas.